All right, friends, welcome back again to the episode of Tactical Enlightenment. Our YouTube channel is dedicated to all things Bannerlord related, and in this episode, we are going to cover at least 2 cities in castle and siege defense as we continue to roam the lands and try to help you get better at Bannerlord through the use of field command and tactics. Like I said, we're going to do a couple because I expect this to be short. I did just a very quick scouting run of Revel. Revel is not a likely city to be sieged, so we will include a city that is likely to be sieged, and that is Sibir. We will do both of those in this episode. Now, in both scenarios, we're going to use tier 3, 4, 5, and 6 units here, and just to get a baseline of how difficult this city is to defend, we will let the sergeants go through here in a couple minutes. We won't waste your time. We'll use the RTS mod. We will speed through this at 3x speed, and we will see how they do. Now, I have noticed terrible line of sight for both the archers and the catapults in this city. In the example I tried before I hit the record button, I got smoked at 2 of the different catapults without even getting multiple shots off. So just like the archers here, the city of Revel has a lot of what I consider oceanic oxygen dead zones, the equivalent of Bannerlord, where you physically can't stand on the catapult without being killed. And a very similar situation exists here. I will show you the correct catapult to stand on in order to survive this city. Now the main gate is under pressure. Both siege catapults or siege towers arrived. Obviously that is suboptimal. They're doing a terrific job defending the gates, but of course when your forces are spread over 3 different locations like this, loss and death is inevitable here. Indeed, the Khazate have blown open both siege towers. I will probably skip that 3 minutes there where it was just an archery duel. And as you can see here, we're not even going to destroy 2/3 or a third of this Khazate force, right? The AI in charge here butchers it about as bad as you can. Let's go ahead and take charge here. We will do the exact same settings and just take command of all the troops. Now again, 1 catapult, because I want to show you effectively the most efficient catapult spot for Revel. It's very unlikely you're going to end up defending Revel, but if you do, you're going to want to have a recipe for success. This catapult on the left here is the best option, and I will show you why once we get going in the battle. We're going to try to destroy a siege tower and then, of course, deal plenty of damage to their troops. So we'll switch that from the far right side to the far left side. The 2 middle spots I got destroyed when I sat on those catapults. You just don't have cover. The bottom line is some of the cities in Bannerlord are just not really well designed for defense. So this location here, it's very likely the enemy's going to stack up troops because we're not likely to be able to destroy both siege towers. With that in mind, we're just going to use very simple infantry blocks to block the ladders. Again, this basic strategy saves your troops from being smoked from the outside archers, right? There's just no reason to stand up there and try to repel the enemy when you can have archers safely inside the keep, safely inside your castle or city, smoking them as they try to get down to you. Where this doesn't work is where there are 5 or 6 ladders, but most cities only have 3 or 4 ladders like this, 3 or 4 stairways for the enemy to get down to you. And so if you just put archers in long strips like this, this generalized strategy will work for most cities and castles in the game. Not all, probably a third it does not work, and I'm going to be covering those in this series. Now, anytime you have elevation like this, it's even better, right? So I want to get more archers lined up here because these guys not only can shoot the guys coming through the gate, but they'll be able to shoot down over the head of our infantry to the guys at the gate, right? And looking, these guys are a little close, but if they're not right on top of each other, those archers with their buddy should both be able to fire. I'm just going to spread them out here. Since I have the square to the left, I want these guys to the right. And you don't want them about 40 feet or closer to the enemy because the enemy will switch their aggression from your infantry squares to your archers. Obviously, you don't want that. Now, over here, I can't put archers out here, but I'm going to have to make significant changes mid-battle here if we can't destroy this siege tower. Looking at the line of sight, I don't know why we wouldn't be able to, and I did test this beforehand. This is the 1 catapult where I actually felt safe sitting on top of it. Oops, shit, we just fumbled a few formations here. We're going to have to straighten up these squares. The squares are a vital, integral part of this as well. Your squares are playing defense. Infantry in a square will kill the enemy, but very slowly, and generally you will suffer a worse than 1-to-1 KDR. In other words, if your square kills 50 troops, they probably suffered 100 losses. That is because in a square formation, what the infantry tries to do is survive. They hold their shield up. If they're being attacked and pounded on, occasionally they'll swing their weapon at that person attacking them, but the guys next to them won't. They will play a lot more defensively. That means a square is a perfect formation for this type of defense structure. We want those infantrymen to simply hold the line while our archers and skirmishers work. All right, we've already got guys up here on the catapult immolating the enemy. We should be able to get off 7 or 8 good shots too and kill some troops as well as this siege tower. Now I get on here with a little bit of apprehension after being smoked at the other locations, but you notice you don't hear arrows hitting all around us, right? The enemy AI just doesn't have line of sight here. And this is a very important thing to test in any city. If you get on this catapult and immediately you're just getting drilled with arrows, pick a different one, right? Or try something else, because you're not going to be able to stay there. You will eventually get killed. Now here, I think we can actually, yeah, so I can hit both siege towers, but I probably wouldn't be able to destroy both before they got up to the walls. Generally, it takes 3 or 4 shots from a fire catapult to destroy a siege tower. That said, that was a juicy shot, right? We have this beautiful enfilade siege fire on the enemy side, on the other fire catapult there, or the other siege tower in the middle. Now this guy here, and there it goes, right? It was like easy to take it down. In fact, I had time to fuck around with the other tower. Now let's try to immolate some of these troops here before we go look at our troop setup. Anytime you build defensive structures like this, defensive troop structures, you want to make sure they're working, right? This is basically checking to make sure that the machine of war you built is operating how you intended it to. If there are weaknesses, we will patch them up. You've got about 2 minutes before the actual violent siege happens where the enemy's coming up to the walls. Right, we're going to make the most of that here. We're killing only low-level archers, but it still adds up, right? All of these deaths add up. I think we'll grab one of those fireballs and then head off to the rest of the battle. Now, our troops will continue to work there, right? And you can see the walls in this city are horribly difficult to defend. I was running at full speed there, and I still got smoked by 3 arrows. All right, so this is interesting behavior. The AI does this sometimes. What it's doing here, instead of charging piecemeal, it's just building up a large garrison of troops. The reason it's doing that is because it knows it's going to be more effective charging with like 60 or 70 troops than 10 at a time. So we're going to get an infantry division ready here to countercharge this, basically put it right up in their face. I want this infantry division to attack us. I've also brought the archers that were defending that other side closer over here because there's no siege tower over there, right? We only have this one siege tower to deal with. These guys here, we're simply going to cut them off from charging both directions. From up here, I can also watch the gate, and the gate looks like it's doing just fine. We'll go take a closer look at that. Anytime there's carnage and combat like this, guys screaming, it's always good for you as the commander to go investigate, right? Your troops will not change where you put them. So in a scenario like this, if your formations are not set up well, right, you need to go make sure that they get adjustments. You can see almost every archer here is shooting. In fact, even the guy on the stairs back there is shooting. All our little Santa hat archers here are shooting. And the enemy is being annihilated slowly. Another step, of course, you always want to take advantage of if you have the opportunity is to just throw rocks down and give the enemy concussions. There's usually a pile of rocks here. Sometimes your troops will use them, sometimes they won't. In this case, I've just got this juicy pile of rocks to throw. We don't need to do this, though. This siege is already over, right? As a veteran of thousands, literally, if not thousands, hundreds of sieges for sure, I can just tell you that this siege is over. Oh, shit! Now it might be over for us. All right, let's try to take control here. Tell all the units to stop, and then we're going to reform them. Okay, the archers are still safe there. Actually, this is going to be another example. What do you do if a siege goes chaotically when you get killed? Let me show you. We're just simply going to take our time here and reassign all the same units to where they were before. The temptation for most people is to freak out and charge or something like that. Panic hits your brain, and all of a sudden you know, we tend to do things that are irrational. Let's take a deep breath here, right? And we'll just start reassigning our units, right? Let's get that archer division assigned back here. Let's get these squares pulled back and stuck on the stairs. And this is actually good. I was moving too fast there with the RTS mod and fell right through the murder hole fucking entrance. Got killed by gravity, and I think we could still salvage this. It's kind of like bonus material here. What to do if your commander gets killed and everything gets chaotic. These archers are reset. That square is now holding out. The enemy's back to rallying troops, but what a barrage they're under, right? It's incredible maelstrom of arrows, and I think they just routed. They did. So even though we fell through there, it got very messy for 10 or 15 seconds, thanks to the RTS mod, thanks to some cool-headed tactics here, ice water in our veins. This force of 1,000 Khazate is sent packing. And almost a 10-to-1 KDR, despite that little snafu. All right, that gives you the recipe for Revel. Let's go ahead and do Sibir Castle, or Sibir City, which is a much harder, not harder, but it's a much more unique city to defend. I said originally when we started this episode that this is hard to defend. It is if you use normal processes, right? If you use advanced tactics like this, piece of cake. All right, let's go ahead and add Sibir to this episode. Now, we're going to make this extremely difficult because I took just a 5-minute test run of this and it was extraordinarily easy to defend. I thought this city was going to be harder to defend, but a couple small adjustments here and we were able to easily have success. Now, we're going to make this extremely difficult here purposefully. I like to mix a few of these into this City Siege series just so that you guys know how to handle unusual situations. We will play Khazate and we will have a wall breached. This is obviously not a good situation for you, the defender, but it is something that's possible. That'll happen to you during your campaign. You will have a wall open. On top of that, the enemy has fire catapults, or catapults at least, so we're going to be suffering damage from the catapults as well. We have 1 fire catapults, and we're outnumbered about 2.5 to 1. That number is important because in my experience, an AI will defend a decent job outnumbered about 2 to 1. Anything worse than 2 to 1, and it will lose. Now, in the auto-resolve, in other words, in the pre-battle, you know, just send troops, it'll generally handle about 4 to 1, sometimes 6 to 1, depending on circumstances, depending on details like how many siege weapons they have, siege towers, etc. It all factors in. In this case here, we know very soon this gigantic Zerg of Sturgian infantry is going to pour into the open hole of our walls. On top of that, it looks like the siege tower has arrived safely, the ram has arrived, and the onslaught is about to start. Now, this is obviously a difficult situation, but I think with some intelligent squares, some tactical flanking, maybe some fire catapults shot just at the right angle into that siege tower, and we can have success. Now, the AI is putting a huge amount of troops at the hole in the wall and hardly any at the gate. Now they are adjusting to the gate. Unfortunately, the siege tower here on the right is completely free now as the enemy storms in and sacks your city. And it won't take too much longer now for this much larger, much stronger Sturgian force to blow open our defenses here. Of course, they blasted our archers off the walls, siege weapons, and it looks like, you know, it will end up killing about 1/3 of the enemies. This is pretty typical, which means that you must use tactics in this situation to win. So again, we'll use all the same circumstances. We'll make it even harder on ourselves. We'll make ourselves outnumbered by 3 to 1 and see if we can't pull this off. Well, I'm actually going to use the stairways in 2 different ways. We're going to put up squares where I think the enemy is going to be coming down the stairs, and we're going to be putting up archers in close formation on some of these stairways. I'll show you that in a minute. I'm just kind of giving this one look over. The siege tower over there is probably going to arrive. We might be able to destroy it. I'm trying to think of the best spot for the siege, the fire catapult. It's probably right here because we can get a good angle on it and rain fireballs down on the enemy. I'm wary, though, that the siege weapons obviously present a threat to our archers. They also present a threat to our troops inside the castle or inside the city. In this situation, it's one of those rare circumstances where putting troops inside the courtyard can be dangerous because they're going to get blasted with fire catapults. 2, 3, 4. I think this actually makes sense. We will try this. 3 infantry divisions. I'm not actually going to adjust things too much here. They're all equal roughly in size. We may equalize them during the battle. I'm going to tuck the 3rd right here, and you want to kind of tuck it against the wall and close to the opening. Now, it won't let me put them any closer for some stupid reason. But the reason I want to put them that close is so that the enemy's sort of jammed up on the top of that hill. That'll make them vulnerable. Archers behind our square will be able to hit them still. The 4th is at the gate. Usually I put the 1st. It doesn't really matter. Let's just put this 4th kind of to the side here. We've got some nice angles for the archers to fire in on. So let's just go ahead and put the 4th kind of on the same side where that 3rd is. Okay, so over here we'll have the 1st corps. The corps are out of order. Normally I put the 1st at the gate. I'll use a shield wall over here. A shield wall is very efficient. It's just as effective as a square. In some cases it's more efficient. In this circumstance you want a shield wall. That way all of the shields are facing the enemy, right? If that's a square, some of the dipshits will actually be faced the opposite direction. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 archers. So we'll start with the 8th over here. It doesn't matter numerically where these archers are. I've already tested this, and this is just going to work brilliantly. There's lots of room in the courtyard here. In fact, you can tuck them back a little bit further. The good rule of thumb here for archers' distance from the walls for them to be effective is 30 to 50 units. I say 30 to 50 in a keep, and then 50 to 100 in battlefields. The reason I do 50 and 100 in battlefields is you need to be able to pre-kite. In a keep defense, you don't have to kite, right? You're not going to have your archers engaging in a whole lot of combat. Now, there is a free ladder there. We'll have to keep an eye on that stairway, see if they start flooding down it. We can put higher level archers closer to the stairs. That way, if enemy troops pour down there, at least it's cons guards and heavy horse archers combating them with their glaives instead of these little guys with their Santa hats and their dismal little sword. But I think this is going to work. We'll jump on this fire catapult, try to mangle at least some of the troops, if not the siege tower. Got to get a couple of these other units assigned. Oh, I forgot about this, right? Let's get the guys in a line here. So they're in a shield wall, but if the unit doesn't have a shield, they'll still shoot. So even though they're in a shield wall, all that really does, the effect of it is just to tighten up their formation, which is good, right? Because then I can pack more firepower into a smaller space. We'll give them this auxiliary division of archers. That is going to be nasty. 6th, 1st, 5th. I feel like I'm missing somebody. Fire catapult there. All right, I think we're ready. Oh, shit. Okay, I butchered something here. What did we do? 2nd Corps was on the wall accidentally. Where do these guys need to go? Oh, shit. Somehow I didn't. I must have pulled this unit off of here. This is one of the reasons it's important to know where your archers are, right? A little bit of sloppiness here, and we had 10 guys shot to death on the walls. Oh, shit. That's not a good sign. There's fire catapults. That's a really bad sign. There's debris and body parts coming down the steps. This might be kind of tenuous. Still, as we get bombarded here and shot with a javelin, we're still going to try to destroy this siege tower. It usually only takes 3 shots, sometimes 4, to destroy a siege tower. And I think we're going to be able to do this, even though... No, oh, okay, never mind. We're insta-killed by a siege weapon. All right, let's see. We're going to roll with this. Let's roll with this. What happens if this happens to you? Of course, if you don't have the RTS mod, you fucking lose. Apologies to you console players. The first thing I'm going to do is put everybody in a line and retreat. I just want them getting away from the fucking vulnerable spots. And if they're not in line formation, some of these dipshit archers will be in scatter around. If you don't pull them from scatter around, they will not retreat, even if you order them to. A lot of guys express curiosity why that happens. That's usually the case. Put everybody in a line formation, so select all, line formation, and then retreat. Now, before they get to the main citadel, you need to pull these guys back. In other words, when you tell units to retreat, they retreat all right. They'll retreat all the way to the citadel, and once they go inside the citadel, they sort of disappear there. They are no longer usable on the battlefield. They count as routed units. So we need to pull these guys back. I got to kind of do this in a hurry. So the 8th over there, we're going to try to shift on the fly here. And I realize this is a little bit of a disservice to you guys watching, and you can't see what's going on. I think we'll fight this battle again and try not to get killed by a siege weapon. That's the thing, though, right? This is going to happen to you fellas. Of course, if you're on a console and you get killed by a siege weapon trying to do this, RIP, right? Rest in peace. You guys are destroyed for sure. The AI has no idea how to go from this type of formation to defending the keep like normal, and you will lose 100% of the time unless you have a huge force. If you're badly outnumbered, you're going to lose every time. So if you don't have the RTS mod and you're on a console, this is a good point. I don't often say this. Make sure you don't die, right? Even if that means hiding, staying in the back like a commander. If you don't have good survival skills on your main character, you better just stay back, right? Stay in the rear with the gear, to use the military parlance. All right, I think we've reset everything. I didn't explain all that. You guys, all you need to know is, of course, I reset more or less the configuration we had beforehand. Everybody looks like they're coming back, and I don't think we had any troops route. We got a little slow motion siege barrage here, and you see how dangerous it is for our archers here. They're being pounded by siege. This obviously is a very hard defense. Still, we've already lost our commander. We've had some chaos at the beginning, and I still think we can win this. So I'm going to get... I was going to say I'm going to get to these fire catapults and throw some down. The enemy's going to stop me. So the difficult level is going up by the second. Now the Sturgians are pouring through that breach, but they're being strafed by enfilade fire, so that looks good. Let's see if we can't get to these fire catapults here. Maybe I can cross over at the top here and lob a handful of these down to do some extra damage here. I think I can jump right up that thanks to their destroying all the walls. Here we go. All right, we got some fire catapults. Let's rain this shit down on the enemy. Now, motherfuckers are coming up here to attack me, unfortunately. We're going to do a little parkour this episode. I don't think I can get back to the other side. So, we're kind of stuck. That's okay, though. What did I say before? Find a safe spot, ironically, because the AI can't jump off there, evidently. This is even safer than being in the courtyard, right? I basically can't be attacked by infantry. The archers could shoot at me, but I got a shield. And let's give you, again, the perspective of what's going on here. Incredible archer enfilade fire, right? The guys on the stairs there. Now, notice our squares are dwindling. What do you do here, right? You can do one of two things. You can use archers for square. Highly suboptimal, right? You want to have guys with shields in a square. Alternatively, you can steal from the squares that have more troops. If you hold your number and there's 49 guys in the first division, move some of those guys, right? F3, F5. I don't know what the commands are for the console. Maybe somebody could add that. I hope you guys can do that with the console. I really feel for you fellas on console. Hopefully someday Tailworlds realizes they can make more money if more players play the console. So we even out that square. And I think we're okay. It's very messy. There's a lot of death going on. There's kind of scrums here and there. But we have so many archers set up with enfilade fire that I still think we're going to win this. The enemy's being shredded at every single entrance. They're not coming through the main gate at all. And this siege is over. See, I got the gate covered. Again, we can just resume... we can resume our guy running around the field. Let's see if we can't throw a few fireballs here at the end of this battle and swing things in our favor. This guy looks like he's wearing some cowhide armor. I got a dipshit chasing me, but I don't think you can chase me up here, bud. You don't got the parkour skills that I got. He says, as he jumps up here. All right, hopefully I can throw 4 or 5 of these. You got bitch-ass archers up here on the siege catapult, or siege tower. Militia, that's what I got. I got a militiaman. That's why he's wearing, this guy's wearing a cowhide. They ate some steak and made some armor at the same time, this guy here. All right, so 4 or 5 of these fire catapults. I got 2 guys coming up here. Hopefully they can repel the Sturgians that are insolently trying to attack me. There's a ballista trying to kill me as well. Everything's trying to kill me. This is basically like real life, right? That alligator down in Florida, that grizzly bear in Alaska. Everything's trying to kill you. And it's your job to use the fire catapult of life. All right, this siege is over. I can just tell the enemy's kind of bottled up on this siege tower over here. I probably don't need to do this, but I'm just trying to expedite their retreat. And away they go, right? These insolent archers down here. Fuck you guys still shooting at me. They all get exploded and emasculated. Charge these bitches. We've got this militiaman in charge of the siege. And success, right? Outnumbered 3-1. The AI couldn't even handle being outnumbered 2-1. They got completely destroyed, and we get about a 6-to-1 kill ratio here. All right, let's clean this up just a little bit. Let's go ahead and make a normal scenario for you, right? With the walls up, we will speed this up a little bit. This is sort of easy mode here, but let's give ourselves even less troops, right? Let's say you're in a badly outnumbered, almost 5-to-1 situation. Can you still win this? Well, the answer is yes, and of course you want to stay around if you need the evidence for it, or you can trust my 1,000 siege defense experience. We're going to be able to blockade this enemy and scorch them. I will bet you guys $207 that we win this siege here. If anybody's got $207 they want to bet me, I will bet you. I think we're 90% to win here. So we do have 4 ladders. In a perfect world, you would make 4 divisions, but I don't think we need to do that. It's okay if one ladder is dangerous. In other words, if the enemy can come down it unimpeded, as long as they're not pouring down it. And we will adjust. If the enemy's pouring down one of these ladders, we will split a square, or we will simply move another square to that location. The rest of the strategy is what we said before. It's just so easy with open courtyards like this to spread out archers. God damn it. Sorry, I just jammed all of our units into the corner here. It's so easy to spread out archers. What was the range I said before, right? This is a pop test. 50 maximum, 30 is a nice range archer for the archers to be away from the wall. Think of like 20 or 30 meters on the football field or whatever it is, right? 50 feet, 70 feet for you Americans, something like that is the optimal distance for archers. The main reason is if all of a sudden the enemy starts to charge your archers, it gives you a little bit of time to adjust and close stairways. Obviously, the closer they can be, the better, as long as the enemy's not attacking them. And there are circumstances where the enemy's jammed up on a square where it helps you to have archers 8 feet away, right? Because those guys are doing maximum damage. Bannerlord has a nice momentum system, and arrows go slower the further in the air that they're traveling, just like anything else in real life. All right, I don't like this siege tower. I'm going to try to destroy this siege, I don't like this catapult. We're totally vulnerable here. I got Tweedledee and Tweedledum here getting shot to death. But I think now we can destroy this siege tower. It'll only take 3 or 4 shots here. Hurry the fuck up. Where the fuck are you going? Ah, you asshole. And this is a thing sometimes with some of these sieges. Sometimes it's almost like they're simulating dipshittery across the world. This guy, we got to do everything ourselves here because our guy ran around, used up a bunch of fireballs, and now we might not be able to destroy that siege tower, but I still don't think it's going to matter. That $207, send it, fellas. I'll send you my PayPal because if you guys wanted to bet, you lose, right? We're still going to be able to succeed here. Now, we don't even need these stupid fucks here. They're basically an impediment. They're getting shot, and they're also losing our fireballs, right? Because they're picking them up and instantly getting hit by arrows. I think it's actually better for me just to stand here and throw all these than to rely on dipshits. I have a theory that about 1/5 or 1/6 of the world is just an absolute dipshit, nincompoop, moron. And I should clarify that before people think I'm a total asshole. Most dipshits I've found in life, most stupid people are really nice. It's not that they're mean. In fact, I would prefer to be friends with a bunch of stupid people than malicious, smart people, right? The biggest plague in the world right now is that we have people that are smart and malicious. It's not stupid people that do all the damage, although they do damage accidentally, right? They're the ones that look at their phone and drive through an intersection and kill a family of 4. The stupid people, they're just part of the world, but it's the malicious, smart people that I really worry about. This fucking guy, look at this guy, malicious, holding up his axe, gets shot right in the face. That guy, he's a stupid guy, right? And he's harmless, right? He's going to run up to you with no shield. Even though he has a shield, he just holds his little cleaver and runs up to you. Now, it looks a little bit messy, but look at what these archers are doing, right? Any of the guys come down that stairway and they get mauled by cons guards. Instantly, those guys break off and crush them. We're going to kind of move through this quickly because it's probably approaching a half hour now of the total content in this episode. But this siege is over, right? Get that $207 out. I'll link you to my PayPal. You guys, anybody who made that bet, you lose. And this siege is over, right? The enemy just can't get in. We've got squares covering 3 of the ways. The 4th way is a lightly traveled stairway here. We'll steal a little bit from that square and add it to the other division. I could still move cons guards to the squares. I don't really want to. I'd much rather have this heavy cavalry there with their good armor and their shield. The enemy's trying to rally troops up there to no avail. And this battle is over. All right, so what's the moral to this story here, right? Don't hate stupid people, although beware of them, right? Don't drive next to them. If you see them in traffic, motherfuckers got their phone out. Speed up and get away from them on the highway. Be worried about the danger that stupid people can cause you, but understand that most of the time it's innocent. And make sure you don't put your archers on the walls. That's the moral of this episode here, fellas. Have fun out there. Be careful of stupid people. Be highly wary of intellectual, devious people. They're out there. I won't say who they are, but over the course of time, right, you guys will run into a lot of these people. Most of them are in politics, unfortunately. Have a good time. Come back to the channel. If you hit that like button on the way out, I appreciate you fellas. I guess unless you didn't like it. Maybe you didn't like my political rhetoric. Maybe you got a brother who's stupid or something like that. And with all that said, fellas, I appreciate you guys, and I will see you next time.